I think this is a subject which should be part of the jurisprudence course, and I hope it will become so. I have, with interest, listened to most of the programs on the first day, second day, and the whole of today, whatever has taken place. And as a student of law, I have watched and listened with great interest to whatever has been stated by the eminent speakers and panelists. They have very, very vast experience. They have covered an extensive area, and after deep study, I shall place a few thoughts on Dharma, natural law, and spirituality. As we enter the Supreme Court, we see Yatho Dharmas Tatho Jaya. Where there is Dharma, there is victory. This is the motto. And as Justice Lahoti mentioned, as you enter the portals of the Parliament, you have similar symbolic representation of Dharma. The Dharma Chakra is there in the flag. What is Dharma? Dharma is an organizing principle that applies to human beings in solitude, in their interaction with human beings and nature, as well as between inanimate objects, to all of cosmos and its parts. It refers to the order and customs which make life in the universe possible and includes rules that govern society and ethics, as well as behavior that enable social order, right conduct, and those that are virtuous. Dharma is that which all existing beings must accept and respect to sustain harmony and order in the world. It is the natural laws that guide the act and create the result to prevent chaos in the world. It is the innate characteristics that makes the being what it is, thus playing one's role in cosmic concert. Just as the societal phenomena affect the conscience of the individual, similarly, many actions of an individual alter the course of the society. Dharmo dharayati prajaha, meaning Dharma is that which holds and provides support to the social construct. In fact, all human beings, irrespective of the religious affiliation, are equally obliged to adhere to Dharma for the common welfare. Even people who do not believe in the divine order or higher reality should also adhere to Dharma for the sake of common well-being. Dharma thus takes the form of a non-religious, universal precondition for peace, growth, and harmony. Dharma is pre-religion, prior to even commencement of what we call as religions today, and it is immanent. It is an end in its own right. It is also the means for attaining artha, kama, and even moksha. Dharma is not dogma. Dharma is not ritual. Valmiki says in the Ramayana, from Dharma comes prosperity, and from Dharma flows happiness. From Dharma, everything is attained. Dharma is the essence of the word. Dharma arthaha prabhavati. Dharma prabhavati sukham. Prabhavati sukham. Dharmena labate sarvam. Dharmasaram idam jagat. In Shanti Parva, there is a dialogue between Bhishma and Dharmaraja. And I won't quote the Sanskrit version, I will give the translation. It is most difficult to define Dharma. This is what Bhishma tells Dharma. It is most difficult to define Dharma. Dharma has been explained to be that which helps to elevate living beings. Therefore, that which ensures the welfare of living beings is surely Dharma. The learned rishis have declared that which sustains is Dharma. Dharma is basically for the stability of society, the maintenance of social order, and the general well-being and progress of humanity. Whatever conduces to the fulfillment of the object is Dharma, that is definite. This is what Bhishma says. Now, Dr. Radhakrishnan, a century ago, said this. The term Dharma is one of complex significance. It stands for all those ideals and purposes, influences and institutions that shape the character of a human being, both as an individual and as a member of society. It is a law of right living, the observance of which secures the double object of happiness on earth and salvation. That is moksha, salvation. In our philosophy, moksha or spiritual freedom is the aim of all human life. Adi Shankara spoke of punarabi jananam, punarabi maranam. Therefore, to get over this is moksha. And Gopalakrishna Bharati in Tamil says, Marubadayum Karubadayum Kudiyilane Tallavanda is what he says in the Kriti Tiruvadi Saranam. It's the destiny of human being to reach the summit of spirit and attain immortality. We are the children of God. Amritasya Putraha. The eternal dream of the human heart, the aspiration of the soul to come to its own, is the basis of Dharma. It assumes that the fundamental reality is the soul of man. All desires of the heart, all discussions of logic presuppose the reality of the Atman. It is something unprovable by reason, though no proof is possible without it. Nor is it a mere matter of faith, since it is the faith which underlies all reason. If the indwelling God in a human being is the highest truth, and that's what we believe in, conduct which translates it into practice is ideal conduct. The several virtues or forms of the truth, satyakaras, truth, beauty, and goodness are a part of the life stuff of the ideal person. She will be an embodiment of the virtues of self-denial, humility, fraternal love, and purity. For the perfect persons, Dharma is an inspiration from within. For others, it is an external command. What custom and public opinion demand? That is the law imposed by others, external command. If morality is that which conscience imposes, and law that which state commands, Dharma is neither the one nor the other. It is the tradition sustained by the conviction of countless generations of human beings which helps to build the soul of truth in us. Since our activities are impelled by our desires, the right regulation of our desires is also part of Dharma. Right regulation of our desires is also part of our Dharma. The liberty of each is restricted by the needs of all. Therefore, the individual having to regulate himself to cater to the needs of all. Our liberty extends only till the other man's liberty is not affected. We are pledged to one another and should live for one another, the individual for the family for the community for the nation, and the nation for the world. The term Dharma is derived from its Sanskrit root, dhra, which means to hold, to support, or to sustain. And while it defies a single definition or interpretation, The term is used generally in Indic tradition to mean ethics, law, duty, teaching, and religion. Thus, Dharma encompasses moral principles that guide human conduct, laws that maintain order, and duties that lead to individual fulfillment and social harmony. In short, Dharma is the harmonizing principle of the cosmos. I want to stress the definition of Dharma: to hold, to support, or to sustain. We today talk of sustainable development. In our hurry to deplete the globe of its natural resources, we have forgotten our ancient tradition of sustainable development. And we see as a result global warming. And we now, therefore, want to go back to sustainable development, to support, to sustain. This was always our tradition, our philosophy, not only of India, but of the world. But greed overtook the need. We therefore have to again go back to emphasizing sustainable development environment. In the Mahabharata, Rishi Uttaya says to King Mandata, Prabhavartam Bhutanam Dharmasrishta Swayambhuva. The all-pervading one has instituted Dharma for the common good of all beings. Dharma is that which sustains and ensures progress and welfare of all in this world and eternal bliss in the other world. As Mr. Vikramjit Banerjee was saying earlier, this is universal. The early Greek philosophy was no different. The pre-Socratic thinkers took up natural law as a form of reason. Heraclitus in his teaching said, law is reason. It must rule and govern because it is neither transitory nor capricious. It is constant, serene, and eternal. It deals with the general and universal. Third, common law is what all men, by a natural institution, feel to be common right and wrong, even if they have no common association and no covenant with one another. In his De Republica, Cicero said that natural law provides universal moral principles obliging all human beings. In his Enquiry of Natural Law, Aquinas, to whom also Mr. Banerjee referred, stressed the importance of human reason in the role of natural law. In his perception, every action in human-made law should be a rational participation of eternal law. Aquinas' philosophy was deeply rooted in Aristotle's thought, who said justice is giving everyone his due. For him, natural law was based on common, natural, practical reason of man. Doing good and avoiding evil is the whole foundation of natural law. Aquinas sees the interconnectivity between law and obedience in three parts, either from virtue or fear or as dictates of reason. Aquinas said it is not always through the perfect goodness of virtue that one obeys the law, but sometimes it is through fear of punishment, and sometimes from the mere dictate of reason, which is a kind of beginning of virtue. If a person abides by a command of a superior, that command should be based on certain necessity of justice. This echoes the old Augustinian maxim, an unjust law is no law at all. Therefore, just, fair, and reasonable. That concept also comes. For Finis, natural law is the set of principles of practical reasonableness in ordering human life and human community, drawing on Aristotle and Aquinas. Finis sets up the proposition that there are certain basic goods, principles of natural law or moral. These basic goods are objective values in the sense that every responsible person must assent to that values as objects of human striving. Finis lists 7. These are, he believes, countless objectives and forms of good, but those not listed are ways or combinations of pursuing one of the 7. What are they? Life, knowledge, play, aesthetic experience, sociability or friendship, practical reasonableness, and religion. Ken Greenewald, in his paper on how persuasive is natural law theory, says that the natural law position rests on a number of premises. Human life is integrally related to all existence. Human nature is universal. The defining characteristic of human beings is the reason or rationality. Human beings have inherent purposes or self-evident goods. These purposes or goods are discoverable by reason, reason being understood in a broad sense to include the light of experience. Morality is objective, universal, and discoverable by reason. People's moral obligations are consonant with their own true happiness. At the deepest levels, no conflict arises between individual good and common good. Human laws appropriately reflect the natural law. Human laws appropriately determine details left open by natural laws, such as the precise punishment for various crimes, etc. Human laws that are not in accord with natural law are not really law in some sense. So, is there a dichotomy between law and spirituality? Justice Sri Krishna says, dichotomy between spirituality and law is avoided if spirituality is understood as Dharma, for it would take within its sweep religion, ethics, law, both normative and prescriptive, inclusive of the social order which it sustains. The sanction behind law is the collective will. The collective will must of necessity reflect the accepted values of contemporary society. Though such values may vary depending upon temporal and spatial constructs, there remain certain core and the obedience commanded by them depend on how closely they resonate the core values. That's a just, fair, and reasonable. Both law and dharma act as reins to keep under check the primeval instincts of societal constituents. The greater such restraint, the more refined and evolved is a society. Any system of rules for orderly transaction in society must of necessity pay obeisance to this concept of reigning in. This is the spiritual kernel of the law. It is this principle which gives the Midas touch to the rules to elevate them to the status of instruments of justice. That's what Justice Sri Krishna says. To evaluate, cherish highly by all right-thinking human beings. Whether we perceive law as the means to attain the abstract goal of justice or as the means of social engineering, we have to ensure that this instrument is tempered and imbued with the cherished values of society. That is Dharma, that is natural law, and that accords with spirituality. That is also our constitutional Dharma. As found in the preamble, the fundamental rights chapter, the fundamental duties chapter, and the directive policy. In accord with Dharma, we will lead a sustainable life. If we live as if there is no tomorrow, without thinking of the future generations, greed and not need-based, then there will be adharma. So let us keep in mind these principles, and I hope the university will find it possible to incorporate this as part of the curriculum. And I once again thank the law faculty and all the organizing committee members and the persons who have been kind to listen to me. Thank you very much.